head forward. This is a thing, right? We are on our computers and we're on our screens and we are having our head forward. And I was in this presentation as part of the Feldenkrais conference online, where Eleanor Silverstein, who's a practitioner who studies a lot of the vagus nerve system matrix, and she was lovely talking about all of the beautiful nerves and wiring that comes through this whole area. And when our head is forward, right, that just gets all cramped up, that gets all tightened. And when there isn't this flow there, that not only can cause us, right, neck tension and pain and all of that, or also transfer to other areas of our body, but the flow of the vagus nerve matrix system gets dampened, and that can influence our stress and anxiety, our ability to socially engage. So one thing I love about Feldenkrais is that we're not interested in correcting, which, like, as soon as somebody tries to correct me, I resist it. Like, as soon, and I think of it like a rubber band. If if you had, if your arm was like contracted like this and somebody was like, let's straighten your arm out, there would be this reaction, right? So if you try to like correct yourself from having your head forward, you're going to do all this compensatory contraction on top of the contraction that's already happening. So what I love about Feldenkrais, one of the things, is that we can do this through a process of exploration, of curiosity, exploring ease, and then things change on their own, which is super fun. So let's begin. Go ahead and come sit. So for this lesson, you will need a chair. You'll need a chair that has a back, because we'll be using the back of the chair, and that doesn't have any arms because we're going to be sitting like this on the back of the chair. If you don't have that, you could also use a chair next to a table and then just like put some big pillows on the table or something, as we're going to be doing this against the back of the chair. So grab that if you need it. But let's begin just sitting on the chair, regular, and sit towards the edge of your chair. So you have your feet on the ground, towards the edge of the chair. And just take a moment to maybe take your eyes off the screen if you need to, turn a little bit to the side, and just notice what sitting is like. Just the simple act of bringing your attention to yourself in this moment and what you notice about how it is to sit right now. Is there effort involved in staying upright and sitting? Do you feel like you really do need to lean back on something? Is there more weight on one side of yourself or the other side? Where is your weight on your pelvis? Would you say it's directly on your sit bones or behind your sit bones a little bit or in front? And then notice your head. And where is your head in relationship to your pelvis? So does it feel like your head is in front, behind, more over one side, more over one hip than the other? And then get a sense of the shape of your spine, the curves of your spine. So there's a curve in the lower back, the lumbar curve, and then the thoracic spine. What kind of shape in the middle of your spine do you sense, in the area of your ribs? And then there's this transition from your thoracic spine in the middle to your cervical spine, which is what we call your neck. And so how are you sensing this curve of your neck? right now. And then do a little bit of turning to look around yourself. Like, how easy is it to see, to orient to your environment right now? And what do you see as you turn? And notice, is there like a little turning and looking down or turning and looking up? Just notice the path that's easiest as you turn. If you sense any resistance, then that's feedback to do less. So we just want to do just the amount that's easy. Okay. And now let's play with this movement of translating your head forward. So, as if you wanted to, like you were a chicken and you wanted to peck. So, exaggerating, taking your head a little bit more forward and then come back. And do that again. So, you just a little bit move your head forward and notice what the response is in the rest of yourself. Does the movement stay just your neck and your chest is quiet, or does your weight shift at all? So just noticing what feels easy right now, what happens to the back of your neck as you do it. And then go the other way. So taking the back of your head backwards. So this would be more in the like direction of correction to take your chin a little towards, towards your face. Come back to neutral, and again, so it puts you in the position of having like a straighter neck, and then let that go. And now just go back and forth a little bit, a little forward, a little backward, just noticing what that feels like. Okay, and then pause. Notice from that little tiny bit of exploration, has there been any change in how you're sitting? Somehow I noticed something shifted and I felt a little more biased to the left, and now I feel a little more in the middle. And sometimes you will notice a difference and sometimes you won't. So yeah, there was a comment. I was moving my upper body forward, but I'm asking you to move your head forward, and they are two different movements. So the instruction is just to move your head forward and see what happens. So you can do it just your head by itself, or you can do it and see if your body naturally follows, then you can do it that way. So it's just however it is that your body responds to that invitation. And that's how my body was responding. Okay, so now we're going to switch up the position. So come and sit so that you straddle your chair. And so what you'll do is, I'm going to do it kind of at an angle so I can both look at you but also be a little bit to the side. So let me see. So hopefully you have a chair that you can straddle. If you don't, you can build up some support on a table and lean over a table. So what we're going to do here is bring your arms on the back of the chair. Yeah, and so can you think of moving your face forward? Yes, yes. So we'll get into different ways of thinking about it. So put one arm stacked on top of the other arm. And do the same thing here in this position. So you'll move your face forward. And you can experiment with, as you do this, you can think, is it different if I move my face forward? Is it different if I move my chin forward? So you can actually do it thinking of different things, or you can have the image of the chicken, and just notice what's different about having your arms in this position supported by the chair. So there's something different that happens in your shoulders and in your neck. So you go a little forward What happens if you think of taking your nose forward and then you return? Okay, take your arms down for a moment. And now put your arms back up and reverse which arm is on top. So as we go through the lesson, you can just continue to change that. It'll change it a little bit. If you feel like this is too hard for you, the pressure on your arms, you can put like a towel underneath your arms too. So again, make this movement of taking your head forward and spread your attention to feel where else in yourself do you feel some kind of a change, some kind of influence. Even though we are thinking of our heads, is there any movement anywhere else in your spine, in your pelvis? And now intentionally take your head down and round your back. And then return. I'm going to do this a few times. So you let your head drop, your chin drop, the back of your neck lengthens, and you round your spine. And you shift your weight back. And then when you come back to neutral, you come back to neutral with your pelvis, with your head, with your spine. And notice what you sense in your shoulders. Feel how your weight does indeed come behind you towards your tailbone, or maybe you might even feel a bias more towards behind one sit bone compared to the other. Really listening to do just the amount of movement that's easy. Letting your head drop. Okay, take your arms down for a moment. And you can try it a few times without your arms there. So just lowering your head, rounding your back, feeling where's there an ease in the softening. So no pushing, no stretching, just where is it easy? And it might mean, so this is the danger of showing, of demonstrating, because your experience will be different than mine. So you might do a micro movement. What we're looking for is having the movement be spread. So no one place. If you feel any discomfort in some part of your spine when you do this, move less there and more somewhere else. Okay. Pause for a moment. And now bring your arms back to the back of the chair. And now let's combine this rounding of the back, rounding of your back, while you take your head forward. So you round your back and you take your head forward at the same time. And then when you return, your head gets stacked back on top of your spine. So rounding your back as you take your chin forward and then erecting yourself. So this is the cool thing, right? We're actually going with this pattern of the head going forward and rounding the back. And then when you come out of the pattern, you are erecting yourself, but not because you're adding an effort. You're actually unwinding the effort of this rounding the back, shortening the back of the neck, just what's easy. So no straining, no straining. I'm doing the movement quite big, but you could do it like the beginning of a sense of dropping your chest a little bit, sliding your head a little forward, and that's enough. The weight of your pelvis coming a little back, seeing where you can let go of work, and then let that go. And rest again. Just notice in the resting what you're aware of. You can do like a little yes movement. Just notice how that is to do. Maybe see what the turning is like. We haven't been dealing with turning, but how is it to turn? Are you aware of a difference between your two sides when you turn? Okay. Bring your arms back up. Change over which arm is on top. And this time, turn your head a little bit to one side. You can choose which side. It could be the side that was easier for you to turn, or if you weren't sure of which side was easier, just wherever your head goes. So you stay turned. And now let's do this movement of taking your chin forward, your face forward, while you round your back and then return. So asymmetrical movement, just a small amount, coordinating. And notice the asymmetry in your back, where your weight goes. Does it go more towards the side you're turned towards, or does your weight, when it shifts backward, does it go more to the opposite side? And you can again feel that sense that you're softening your chest, rounding your spine, and then when you return, your head comes over your spine, over your pelvis, but in this asymmetrical way. Just a small amount, and then pause. And just see what that's like to now turn the way you were just turned towards and doing the movement, and then turn the other way. Wow, it's like a big contrast for me. What do you notice? And then do the same thing to the other side. So turn a little bit the other direction, and then you will round your back as you take your chin forward. And this was your second choice, so go easy, go gentle. See if you can sense not only where your weight is shifting to, if there's an asymmetry in that, but just the shape of your back also. Which side of your back gets wider? And maybe you could even take your chin a little forward and down. So you allow that continuation of the rounding of your back to come into your head a few times. And then you can stay with your head going forward. One last time, gently. Okay, let that go. And I'm giving you these pauses, these rests, but of course you can rest anytime. You can rest with your head down, you can stand to rest, lie down to rest, move to rest. And now return to the turning. See how that's feeling. Okay. See what sitting is feeling like. And bring your arms to the back of the chair again. And now imagine that there are rays of the sun, that the sun is in you somewhere, and that you did like a, 45-degree angle or 30-degree angle with one direction and the other direction. And that each time you take your head forward and round your back, you'll come back to neutral wherever you are. And then you take it again at a slightly different angle. So that it's like spokes in a wheel. Gently, 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 gently. So you'll notice some of these angles are smoother and some are more staccato. So just go super gently. And you can start to pay attention to what happens to your shoulders at the different angles, like one shoulder maybe gets a little higher, or a little lower, or you feel one goes a little more back, or what happens. It's very interesting, complex. You can go back the other way. Maybe change over which arm is on top. That can also change. So you're going with this pecking the different directions. Back to the middle now a few times and feel what happens to your two shoulders when you go to the middle. Can you have a sense that your shoulder blades come a little bit back towards each other? And then when you erect yourself, they spread a little bit. So there's this movement together when you come forward, and then they spread a little bit. Okay, put your arms down. See what it is that you notice. Return to a little rounding your spine. Might even enjoy looking up now, see what's available, and turning around yourself a little bit. Okay. And what does sitting feel like? Where's your head in relation to your pelvis, in relation to your sit bones? And now, if we return just to this simple movement of taking your chin forward, your face forward, are you aware of that feeling different at all? Whether it's just the movement of your head or whether there's a response lower down and what that response is. Of course, you have the chair limiting you a little bit there, but all right. And take a break from the chair, stand up for a moment and see what standing feels like. Can move a little bit in standing. Walk a little bit. So let's do one more thing. Is just come back to the edge of your chair, sitting on it regular, and just see what sitting feels like here. So it's different, right? When you have your legs spread, straddling the chair. Does that feel different? And then play with this movement of your head going forward. And so, yeah, what do you notice about that? I'm just noticing there's a lot more involvement of more of me responding to this, actually. But what do you notice? Okay. One more turning around yourself, what you see in your environment. Is your pelvis somehow more involved in the turning than before? And then the very last thing I want to do, which I don't think I'm going to do this facing the camera. It feels like kind of a personal thing to do. But since you're at home and I can't see you, you can do this with yourself. So I'm going to face away from you and describe the movement. And it has to do with your tongue. So maybe one day when I'm more brave, I will do this facing the camera. But for now, I'm going to turn away. But you'll be able to see the movement of my spine as I do it. So imagine, so you sit on the back of your chair and you imagine that you have a big ice cream cone in front of you and that you wanted to lick the ice cream cone. So you could start, like say it's dripping a little bit. So you want to start by coming down a little bit and then you let your tongue come out of your mouth. And then you lick the ice cream cone with your tongue out of your mouth, and you're going to be making this shape with your spine that is a wave-like shape. So it has some elements of what we've done in the earlier part of the lesson. So you'll round your spine, and you can exaggerate a little bit the whole shape of it, right? So you can round yourself down, and then you come forward, and then you come up, and your head then ends up on the top of your spine at the end of the movement. So you're leaning forward with your whole self, and then you come here, and it's even more powerful when you do it with your tongue. So letting your tongue come out of your mouth. And this is like a way to reset yourself. And you could do it a little bit diagonal. In the middle again. Okay. I was playing with this lesson when I was sitting in the passenger seat and my husband was driving it. And I just love that, like, he like knew what I was doing, you know, but if I was sitting with somebody else and I was doing this movement, they would be like, "What are you doing?" We were laughing about the situation. Okay. So how are you doing? What are you noticing? I'd love to hear from you. And there's many different ways that we could approach this kind of investigation. Tomorrow in the class I'll teach as part of this For Your Neck and Shoulders Unwinding the Body Pattern of Anxiety series. We're going to be doing more using self-touch, which we could certainly add to this lesson. But just let me know how you're doing, or questions that you have, what you are aware of after this exploration. Yeah. And while you are chiming in, I will let you know about a couple things. So Deborah Bose has her pelvic floor part 2, Finesse and Power. That is starting on Friday, and her early bird deadline is today if you are interested in that. And part of when you sign up for that, if you want to sign up for her part 1 and catch up with like doing the first 2 lessons in the part 1, that's 40% off when you sign up for that. And also we have this option to purchase her Touch for Wellbeing series that her and Cliff Smythe did a month or so ago. That's also 40% off during that whole pelvic floor part 2 sign up thing. And then Elizabeth Berenger, who's another Feldenkrais trainer, will be teaching a series called The Foundations of Strength. And she's going to be doing 2 intros, free intros, one on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and one on Zoom. And the information should be linked somewhere in the comments. All right, so we have some experiences here. Thank you for sharing. And if you're watching the replay, please comment later also. My head is much lighter and the vertebra in my neck feel less compressed and way more space between them. Length and space. I love that. Yeah, I feel like I'm really just aware of like this whole upper part of the world feels more available. Like I can, and I think I was more like caught in the computer thing before. Loving the wave and feeling vertebra, having fun. Awesome. I found my shoulder blades seem to move opposite of what you said, so that when you went like this, when you went forward, your shoulder blades spread out, and that when you went back, your shoulder blades. So it's a possibility. Yeah. So sometimes that happens, but you could try both and see what happens. I feel as supple as a cat. Ooh, love that. Love that. More aligned and balanced. My axis is more clear. More aligned shoulder blades, wider shoulder blades. You're welcome. Much more upright and spacious. Love the ice cream. Mine was vanilla. Oh, good. Just wondering how some of the sitting movements would work on a large ball, like a Pilates ball. Try it. Totally. I mean, I think you'd get the movement of your pelvis on the ball would just be like super smooth, right? Because you'd be getting that gliding of the ball. Try it. Yeah, totally. Just like I do in gyrotonics waving motion, this lesson is a great prep for that. Awesome. Neck freer posteriorly. Yay. I felt a big difference at the end of the session. I'll see what the rest of the day turns out. Yeah, so this is something like you could, now that you have a sense of some of these pieces, you could play with this movement every once in a while. You could play with just this little mini version of letting this happen. You could make variations of it and sprinkle that throughout your experience. So when you feel like this is happening, rather than correcting yourself, so you have, like, say, a contraction here, and then you correct yourself with this, then you're co-contracting. So getting a little bit more of this freedom to then have your system spontaneously find its own natural organization. Amazing. Love the ice cream cone reset at the end. Feel like my shoulders have found their home base. Nice. And I feel like my rib basket feels more flexible and fluid. Lovely. So thank you so much. That was super fun. Also, the Movement and Creativity Library is open the last 3 days of this month if you want to come explore the whole series of lessons in there, and a bunch of other lessons in those last 3 days of the month. So it's open for free for visitors and also open for new monthly and yearly members if you'd like to have kind of like a daily practice, an archive of lessons that are accessible by body part position, pattern of movement, different ways of orienting to the process, over 20 different teachers and a bunch of series. So come explore, and please share this video with anyone else that might appreciate it. My rib basket feels more flexible and fluid. Did I read that one already? Solid on my feet with my upper body erect. Yay, I feel that too. I feel like there's this, I feel this kind of line right through here that feels more clear. My head feels more supported. I feel like some more energy, ready for the day. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So I'll see you next week. Same time, same place. Okay. Bye.